Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockrell. Lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and I'm here with Lee Cockrell. How are you doing today, Lee?
Good, Jody. I'm great. Nice sunny day down here in Florida.
Well, we're having a nice sunny day here in Washington State. I think it's been a while since I've been able to tell you that.
Oh, good.
Lee, we're going to stick to some listener questions. We've been getting some great listener questions. And before we get into this, let me say, if you have a question you would like answered on this show, you can send it to either one of us. You can send it to Lee at leecockrell.com, or you can get in touch with me directly, Jody at jodymayberry.com. If you send the question to me, Lee won't know it's coming, and maybe we can eventually stump him on something, which we haven't done yet. Our question this week comes from Nick Griffin. And Nick is a listener to the show, of course, and he wants to know, how does Disney monitor and influence the attitude of staff? He said, my family and I just finished our vacation at Disney, and I found myself monitoring the staff in an attempt to bring some of that culture back to my workplace. Nick is a mid-level manager, the director of environmental services, and he feels that he's struggling but hiding issues with his own attitude. So he knows that concerns need to be brought up to his superiors in order for anything to change, but he also feels that this may result in moving on, in which case he doesn't really want to tip his hat too early.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think what we do well are those basics. Once again, we always talk about the basics in life, and it seems like most questions are answered with basic replies from me because we just do things a little better than everybody else. And I think one thing we do, we have high expectations to begin with, and we make that very clear to anybody we talk to that's interested in joining our company. So already we're so clear, and so there's so much clarity. A lot of people decide they don't want to join us because it sounds like it's hard. You got to behave yourself, and you got to have a good attitude, and you got to get to work on time, and you got to always be positive, no matter how bad a day you might be having at home, or it's raining, or whatever's going on in the world. So I think we hire better, first of all. As you know, we have an online survey that people have to take to see if they can even get an interview, because we want to know lots of things about them. And it's a very predictive survey about their attitude, about how positive they are, high energy we're looking for, discipline, all those kinds of things. And so we have a good measuring system right up front to make sure not the ones should not get through to the interviewing process if they've already shown us they got some problems after going through this profile. And then they go for an interview, and they get interviewed, and again they get a dose of clarity about the expectations for hospitality. And this is Disney. This is not Joe's theme park down on the corner. And it's worldwide reputation. And are you ready to work like that? And then we get them on board, and we train better than everybody else, I think, in the world. We train and we test, and we enforce our training. We have a lot of clarity. If one of our leaders or managers sees somebody not performing or having a bad day out there with a customer, a guest, or with another cast member, they speak to them, and we get right on it. So there's no lack of knowledge around the organization that you just got to behave when you get to work. And we're putting on a show, as I've talked about many times. And as long as you understand your role in the show and you perform your role in the show, everything will be fine. And there is no room for your role in the show to be rude, or not to be nice, or not to go out of your way to help a family or an older person or a child. It just can't be done. I mean, it's just you've got to be that committed to working for Disney. And if you can't do that, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quick. Everybody at Disney is on a 90-day probation. So if you start not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I guarantee you that if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, you heard about it before you came on board. So it's not going to be a surprise to you. You might get terminated immediately within the first 90 days, or you might get a talking to and a written warning or something like that. But so I think hiring the right people, being real clear about what you expect, training people, and then having a culture where we make people feel important and we make people feel special. And we have a culture where we tell them, you can get ahead here. You can get into management. You can move up. You can make more money. You can get great experience. And so I think when you create an environment and a culture where people are excited, they wake up in the morning and they inspire themselves. We don't have to inspire them. They inspire themselves. And somebody says, how do you motivate people? And I told somebody the other day, you don't motivate people. People motivate themselves. But if we give them the right environment, the right culture, the right training, and the right expectations, and then if we hire the right people, they'll motivate themselves. We don't need to be out there spying on them and watching them and looking at them and seeing if they're doing it. And so we do that. And then also we do an annual survey to see how the leadership's treating all the cast members. All the cast members get an opportunity to fill out a long survey on their boss anonymously and to tell us what they need, what they need from their boss. Is their boss giving them the right resources to work? Is the boss asked their opinion? Does the boss include them and when they're about to make a big decision and get their feedback before they make that decision? So there's a lot of things we do that are totally focused on the people and hiring the best people. As I've said many times before, if you hire great people and train them, you have a great company. If you hire average people and train them, you have an average company. I mean, it's like you just got to, everything matters. You've got to be so serious about this and so committed. It's just like developing your kids to be adults. You take it seriously. You do what you have to do. You do it when you have to do it, and it's for them. And we do it for them. That inspires them, and they know that. And we educate them ongoing at Disney and give them lots of opportunities. And even if they leave Disney, I guarantee you that what they get from working for Disney, they'll get hired anywhere they go. Because the minute a future employer sees Disney on there, they bring them right in and want to talk to them. So we do a lot of things. So that's how I think about it.
Well, Disney is in a great spot where they've done such a good job at hiring for so long that you pretty much know what you're going to get with each employee. You could transfer to a different part of Disney World and find that the culture and the attitudes are quite the same. But in other companies, that's not always the case. So let's take Nick's question a little further. He says, how would Disney re-spark my passion if I were their employee? Well, I gather from what I'm hearing from you that at Disney, you probably wouldn't need to re-spark his passion. But let's say you're not at Disney, Lee, and you have an employee who just seems to have lost his passion. How would you handle that?
Well, I think the main thing you do anytime somebody's got a problem or they're not performing or they've got an attitude, or you can tell sometimes by somebody's changed. They used to be happy when they came to work and now they don't seem to be, and they seem to be down and out, is to sit down with them and just hopefully you create a trusting relationship and you ask them, what's going on here? How can I help you? I think, a lot of people are having personal problems that they bring to work because they can't help it. It's up in their brain. They're going through a divorce. They're having problems with their children. They're having financial problems, credit card debt, foreclosure on homes. It's tough times out there today. And a good leader is going to find out why. It's like your kids. When you see your kids with a little attitude or going in their room and not talking to mom and dad anymore, which you get to look forward to in a few years, and slamming the door and not telling the truth and things, I'm sure as a parent, you get right into it. Well, I think that's what any good leader does. You find out, how can I help you? This is for you. I want to help you get through this so you can be successful. And I think just that alone, if I show interest in you and if I'm committed to you, pretty much people end up being committed to me. And I'll spend time with them. I'll give them a break. I'll try to find out how I can help them, and we'll do the best we can. And just showing that interest and empathy. They say discipline and empathy are the two big things you need to be a good leader, and I think that's right. Empathy to try to understand what other people are going through, even if today you're not having a problem, but somebody else is. And having empathy is a big deal. And it doesn't mean to be soft. That doesn't mean to let people get away with anything. It means to be more understanding and to try to figure out what the problem is and fix the problem rather than just firing somebody and having to go out in the market and find somebody else. So I think that's good leaders create that culture, environment, and that trusting relationship, and they can get to the bottom of something if they're paying attention. You got to be paying attention too, so you know there's a problem, first of all. Some people are not paying attention. As my wife tells me sometimes, she said, "Did you hear what I said?" I go, what was that? And that's when we get into trouble, when we're not paying attention, or when I walk in the house and I don't pay attention to how she's feeling. If I want to, I can tell, and I got to pay more attention because it helps the environment at home and helps our whole life together. So it's same at work. You got to be paying attention not only to the work people are doing, the real physical work, or the job description work, but also pay attention to the emotional part, the mood they're in, how they're feeling, how they're displaying themselves. Are they smiling? Are they having any issues? When you do both those things, you're going to have people that can perform both the job and can perform emotionally, because that's how you get great customer service and better results.
Lee, I have a Cockrell quote that I think goes along well with this question, because we're talking about somebody that has lost the passion for their job or they're not motivated. Well, here's a Cockrell quote that might dig into that. The greatest job is the job you have.
Well, I always tell people, they'll say, I'm not happy in my job. What do you recommend, Lee? I said, first, I recommend you keep doing the job you have extremely well. Be outstanding while you spend part of your day looking for a new job. But don't ever let your performance go down until you found a new job, and then you can resign or you can give notice or whatever. But don't be thinking about the job you want. Think about doing the job you have really well. And if there's an issue there that your boss is, maybe it's an integrity issue with somebody, or you're not getting ahead, or you got a conflict, just keep doing a good job, and then block a little bit of time every day to look for a new job. And in a short time, if you do that every day, you're going to find a new job, and you're not going to burn bridges. So when they check on your references, your boss can say, even though you quit and you leave, you don't have to tell your boss you're leaving because you can't stand them. You can, don't show your cards. Just leave with a good attitude. So when somebody calls your boss from the new job, he says, the guy was great. Just don't burn your bridges. Don't get even. Don't have a job rage or road rage or any rage. Let it go.
That is great advice. I think there is probably a great temptation, if you haven't enjoyed your job, to go out with what may feel like the satisfaction of burning the bridge behind you.
Hey, listen, I told somebody the other day, I don't have any road rage. I don't have any job rage. I don't have any rage because everybody in America's got a gun. So I just let it go.
Yes, well, that is probably wise advice. Lee, this has been another great episode about getting motivated for the job you have, even if it feels like the passion is gone. So thank you for that. And thank you for listening to Creating Disney Magic. For more information on Lee's work and how to contact him, you can do that at leecockrell.com. There you can find his blog and episodes of this podcast, information about his books and speaking engagements. You can reach me at jodymayberry.com. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.